Welcome back. Well, if you want to find out details of any of the job vacancies, simply give your job centre the reference number and they'll let you have more information. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this morning's advice is about implementing humour in the workplace, which apparently can decrease stress levels, training time and recruitment costs. Thanks for joining us, Kate.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, Kate, why do we need to laugh, especially in the workplace? Aren't you supposed to be getting on with your job?
Well, just because you're taking your job seriously doesn't mean you can't take it lightly. And there's now all sorts of evidence-based research that says people who have fun get more done.
Really?
Oh, yes. There's all sorts of stuff about, I mean, you just mentioned the major three that are very measurable. The stress absenteeism gets reduced if people enjoy their job.
Right.
Training. People who are happy train much more quickly, much more profoundly. And retention. We've got terrible turnover problems with people coming and going from jobs. And one of the major reasons people will stay is because they like it there. Not money. It's very often morale.
So companies will actually pay you to come in and teach their staff how to laugh.
I know. It sounds mad, doesn't it? But
so,
the basis is, the basic premise of what I do is that everybody has a sense of humor, yeah? Just some of us allow it to have more air, and different workplaces will have different senses of humor. What they laugh at in an operating room is different than what the police force would laugh at, you know, is different than what a call center would laugh at, right? So we don't go into that because that's subjective, but what we do go into is how can you access whatever your sense of humor, whatever your sense of fun is. And laughter is a physical exercise, so you can actually practice it like going to the gym. So if you get your laughter muscles into better shape, you will respond more to your sense of humor.
Now, I'm told I should mention that you have an exercise that you do to help people laugh, is that right?
I do.
Can't you just tell a joke?
Well, yeah, telling a joke is one of the things that makes people laugh, but
Yes.
the people who do that kind of research suggest that only 20% of laughter is in response to something funny. We
Right.
laugh out of fear, we laugh out of embarrassment, we laugh instead of crying. I mean, if you turn to a couple of girls having a giggle and say, "What's so funny?" they probably couldn't explain to you that it was a, you know, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" joke.
Yes.
So joking is one kind of
but
humor.
it covers up a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
But back to the exercise. So what's the laughter exercise then?
Well, there are several, but the one that I've chosen to do that works for the British mentality, and the
Right.
British are very stiff upper lip, get your head down, exactly, is the anatomical breakdown of the process of laughter.
Yes.
So we literally start with a blank face. Oh, go Nicola, very good, yeah. And then we reproduce the muscles that happen when you laugh.
Right.
So as we break it down, and I do all the explaining and whatnot, is we do blank
face.
then you do the mouth, then you do the eyes, then you do the forehead, then you do the lower lip. You're doing brilliantly, and then you start to make the sounds of laughter.
Yes.
So you are literally,
I see.
you are literally simulating laughter to stimulate laughter, or as
And
some
it
might...
kind of makes you feel quite good actually when you're smiling and
It is.
so on.
Literally. You
So-
fake it till you make it.
Fake it. Oh, I like that. I like that saying. Fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Now, you must go in an office full of quite serious people. Say if you go into an office full of, I don't know, accountants or whatever. I mean, how do they react to you coming in? And
I basically have to win them over. So people like that are cynics or reluctant or dissenters or have been sent there by management, sounds like a good idea, I win them over with facts and figures.
Right.
And there are now facts and figures in the workplace that prove people who have fun get more done. There's also all your health-giving benefits. We've had the adage, laughter is the best medicine. Well, now there's all the research behind that positive chemicals get released, your immune system gets a kick, that happen when you laugh.
So, how did you get into this business, Kate? I mean, I know it's a long story, but
I got
in a
into it
nutshell.
because I was an actor and I had difficulty getting work and I had a nervous breakdown and I spent 1.5 years in hospital, part of the time chained to a bed.
Really?
Multiple diagnoses, I was a statistic. And I realized that much as the hospital was keeping me safe, it wasn't making me well. And how was I going to get well? And I basically looked at when I became ill. And I became ill when I started taking the world too seriously. So could lightening up encourage me to get well? And I did research, that's about 15 years ago, did research on it, and there was nothing about humor and healing and that. And now there's bookloads and libraries full.
And people do get very stressed and that's what stress is really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Taking things too seriously,
Yeah.
letting things get on top of you and stuff. So, I mean, would you say this is all a bit of a gimmick, or is it really catching on? Is it really working?
I think there's an element of gimmick to it, but I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
Which is good. So there is money to be made.
Oh my good, I'm doing just absolutely fine, you know, because the message is not rocket science.
Yes.
If you enjoy your work and if you enjoy your colleagues, you're going to serve your customers better, you're going to serve your shareholders better. You know, but basically there is always an element of gimmick, that there will be, you know, is paintballing, taking the firm out to paintballing, is that a great team building exercise, or is this just an excuse to go shoot each other? So there is, I would never begin to say, oh, this is it, this is the science, this is not just a trend, this is a movement.
Yes,
but,
and can anybody do your job, Kate?
Well,
would you say? I mean, what kind of, say somebody watching now is saying, well, I reckon I could do that. How would they get started?
There's actually, I believe anybody could, because there's a man from India who's a doctor, a Western trained doctor, who's devised kind of a methodology of laughter for laughter's sake that anybody can learn and anybody can teach. And it is really fake it till you make it. And the thing is, so he runs these laughter clubs, and there are about 2,000 of them around the world. And people do go into businesses and do this, and people do it in community centres and stuff like that. The thing is, Britain has 3. Why?
Really?
Because his approach doesn't quite work for the British. And
so doing one of those courses will be a good way to do it.
Oh yeah.
We'll put some details of that on the
Yep,
on the fact
I've got all
sheet.
those details. I mean, I approach it slightly differently because I use my own experience and whatnot. But you can literally, in the same way that anybody could teach aerobics once they understand and can get into physical shape. And then there's also the thing, those who can do and those who can't teach. But I think anybody could do what I do.
And also, you're sort of making
just not as well.
You're just making it okay, basically, for people to laugh at work, because a lot of people think, oh, the boss might be watching if I'm laughing.
Absolutely. And the thing is that we spend more time at work than anywhere else. If we're not enjoying ourselves, maybe that should be challenged. Maybe we're doing something wrong. And the facts and figures bear it out. England has the longest work week in Europe, and we have the lowest level of productivity. We work really hard, but do we work smart? You make more mistakes when you're tired, when you're stressed and all that. And enjoying yourself is part of how it doesn't feel like work, it feels like play. And
what kind of feedback have you had from people that you've taught, that have been on your courses?
Fantastic. The main feedback that I get is that I do very, very little marketing. I get all my business by word of mouth, and I'm as busy as I could be.
There's all kinds of ways you could branch out, I guess, as well, isn't there? You know, if people want to come and talk to you on a one-to-one basis, can they do that?
I don't do that. I don't do that. But life coaching and stuff like that does that kind of thing, and a lot of life coaches deal with your basic, what makes you happy, how are we going to get you where you want to be.
So professionally, you prefer to work in a group situation?
I like performing. I'll be honest.
Well, you certainly made us smile this morning. Thank you very much indeed, Kate, for coming in to chat to us. And if